Hare Krishna. So we are in Canto 1, Chapter 9, verse 32 to 42, Prayers of Bhishma Dev. Before going to the prayers directly, we should know something about Bhishma Dev. Generally, people see Bhishma Dev as a great warrior in the side of Kauravas. But his history is glorious, and from the beginning till his head, till his final day, he was a devotee. He remained a devotee. He is one of the Mahajan. So that's why, we are going to see exalted devotees, Paramahamsas, great devotees in Bhagavatam. So now, how throughout his life, how he lived, we all know that, he was a very strong brahmachari. Nothing could shake his vow which he took, and he maintained his whatever vow he took. He is such a vairagi, he is a very good renunciant, though he was there to protect Astinapur. So briefly, we will see his life, Bhishma Dev's life. He took his birth as the son of Santanu and Ganga. So when Ganga married Santanu, she said that you should not question me if I make something different. So Santanu was very much attracted to Ganga. So he said, okay, I will not disturb any of your activity, without thinking that why she is asking this boon. So he got married to Ganga, and then their union produced children. So one by one, whatever child they produced, she used to put them in the Ganges. So because she told that you are not, when the day you ask me, then that day I will leave you. That was the condition Ganga gave to Santanu. So one by one, she is putting all the children. 7 children have gone already. When the 8th child she was about to do, then the Santanu couldn't bear it. He said, "Stop it! Don't do this." Then she handed over the child and she left. So this child is Bhishma Dev. So, but the history says that the children whom Ganga Mata put it in the water, they were all Vasus, and the Vasus wanted to go back to their heavenly abode quickly. That's why it was arranged previously. But externally, it seemed that Ganga Mata was heartless and doing such, when the child is born, immediately you kill the child means what? So it is painful. So Santanu couldn't understand and they got separated. Now Ganga Mata went back also. Her purpose is gone now, fulfilled. But now Santanu fell in love with one fisherwoman. What's her name? You remember? Uh, Anybody remember? I forgot her name. So Satyavati. So Satyavati was a daughter of fishermen. See, certain things are very, very heavy in life. Her father come to know that Satyavati is going to marry a big emperor. So now Santanu want to marry her. So Santanu fell in love with Satyavati. So later he went to propose her from her father. But the father puts the condition, 2 conditions. One is that once your no, one condition only. My daughter's sons should take the kingdom, not your son. Your son, that is Bhishma Dev, Devavrata. That time his name was Devavrata. So, but this is not fair, right? Bhishma Dev was such a nice child, and he's so brave, and so Santanu couldn't digest this. He said, "No, I cannot." But he said like this. He refused Satyavati's hand, but inside he was suffering. Being an adolescent boy, Bhishma Dev could understand father's feeling. He found out what is the reason for his sadness. He was very, very sad inside that he couldn't marry Satyavati. Then later he found out the reason. Then he made this vow that, he will remain as a brahmachari, and at the same time, he will protect the throne. He will support whoever rules Hastinapur. See, in that way also, his vows made him bind to the Hastinapur kingdom. That's the reason that he couldn't go for Pandavas. Because that time Dhritarashtra was ruling, so he has to support Dhritarashtra. That's how he got himself bound with this Hastinapur kingdom. So these two vows he made. And then later, see, the fisherman, Satyavati's father, he had a clear idea. See, I have seen the horoscope of Satyavati, which says that she is definitely a wife of emperor. But he didn't see the other future. Like, though Satyavati got 2 boys, but what happened to them? They all died prematurely. See, you may demand things in life, but the destiny is something else. He demanded, right? He could not have demanded. He should have, okay, let him be the emperor. But he was so selfish, and he said, the children born to my daughter should rule the kingdom. But they had never ruled, though he attained it, but they didn't get. Both the sons of Satyavati, they died prematurely. They got married, they died, which it's a Mahabharata big story. But we will come only to Bhishmadev. Bhishmadev, he was protecting Hastinapur, and he was, he is a very good grandfather of both Pandavas and Kauravas. But he always loved Pandavas very much because they lost their father in the young age, Pandu. He died prematurely also. So Kunti Maharani, such an exalted devotee. So he was always with the Pandavas. You may ask why he kept quiet when Draupadi was insulted in an assembly of Kauravas. But for that he suffered. Later, when he was lying on the bed of arrows, he said, because I didn't protect a devotee, Draupadi was such a great devotee that now I am facing the problem. So whoever it may be, they have to undergo the reactions of their. He should have done, but he didn't do. There may be different reasons also. There may be the reason that Draupadi is destined to be protected by the Lord. So that is also there, but still he didn't do. He didn't take, like the one brother of Duryodhana, he left, and Vidura, he left. If you do something, so they all left. But at least Bhishmadev should have done something, but he didn't do. So for that he had to suffer the reactions, that which he realizes later. And also he had the boon from his father that he has Icha Mrityu. That means he can die anytime he wants to do. He wants to live. So that boon was there. So he's not an ordinary personality, Bhishmadev. Wonderful personality, devotee. So now we will see that everything is over. So he saw that Hastinapur is in safe hands. Now Yudhishthira Maharaja became the king. Here Krishna, see, Lord always give the privilege, the fame, the importance to his devotees. He himself could have guided Yudhishthira Maharaj. But he said, you should go to the battlefield where Bhishmadev is lying. So we will go, take his guidance. So for that, all of them came near to Bhishmadev. Bhishmadev was very happy because that time Krishna came personally. He could see Krishna there. So he guided Yudhishthira Maharaja how to rule the kingdom. Dharmasastra, everything he was guiding him. Then later, now he decided to leave the body. Okay, my job is done now because Krishna is there. So here, this is the point where this is the time where he recited Vishnu Sahasranama. Such a beautiful prayer he recited. Here, few things are written here as a prayer. So we will go through those 10 verses. How nicely he is glorifying Krishna. So in these verses, we come to know that Prabhupada is writing that Bhishma Dev is in a rasa. What rasa? He is in a Virya ras, right? Virya ras, chivalry. So Virya ras, each and every soul has connection with the Supreme Lord in five major rasa. There are some seven sub mellows, means the relationships with the Lord. So each and every jiva has connection with the God, with Krishna in these five major relationship. That is Samanya Ras, means equal, like, it's God and jiva, like, you consider Krishna Lord as God, and then you have that relation. That is Samanya Ras. Next is servitorship. Dasya Ras. Dasya Ras means thinking Lord as the master and servant, which is Hanuman and Lord Ram. And then friendship, like Gopas, Arjuna. Arjuna is important. Gopas and Arjuna, like that, friendship. And then parental love, Vatsalya Ras. And then Madhurya Ras, that is, and the love, conjugal love. This is the topmost. And in this, there are some divisions, the relationship in different mood. So now our Bhishma Dev is in the Virya Ras. That means fighting relationship with the Lord. So that is the important reason that he is in the opponent side. Okay, Bhishma Dev, this is the important reason. See, when a director, a drama director, he directs a play, he may keep his dear one as a enemy also. So Krishna is directing this, and he kept the important roles to his devotees. So Bhishma Dev wanted always in the relationship of fighting with the Lord. So he kept him in the opponent side. So this is also a reason that Bhishma Dev was in the other side. Now because he wants to leave the body, so he is reciting very nicely some exalted prayers, which we will relish now. So Bhishma Dev is saying that let me now invest my thinking, feeling and willing in the all-powerful, self-satisfied Lord Krishna, who is the leader of the devotees, Satvata Pungave, and who sometimes enjoys pastimes by descending into his own creation, the material world. So now this, every devotee should endeavor to become like this. So Bhishma Dev is teaching us how to die. This is an wonderful example where Bhishma Dev is teaching us how we should leave our body. We may do many things in our life. Maybe we have taken some profession, or see, he is a warrior, right? He was a protector of a Senadipati of one kingdom. He has done so many politicians, right? Kshatriya. So he had so many issues to solve. Always throughout his life he was busy in so many things, but internally he remained as a devotee. That's why that was, then only it will be possible for somebody to remember Krishna at the time of death. Otherwise it is not possible at all. Throughout your life you are only immersed in materialistic activity. How is it possible for you to think of Krishna at the end of your life? It will not be possible at all. At the end of their life also, they will watch TV, they will think about their business, they will have attachment with their property, or the sons, grandsons, granddaughters, like that, or lover. So they will have attachment with these things, material or relationship. All this attachment post would be there. But here within himself, he was always a devotee. That's why, despite his busy political activities, he was able to do this at the time of his death. So Prabhupada is writing that how Krishna here. So he is describing how Bhishma Dev is able to do this, but and Bhishma Dev is praising Krishna as Satvata. That word Prabhupada is giving emphasis that Krishna is the leader of devotees. Why is mentioned as leader of devotees? The Lord is the chief amongst such Sattvadas. Bhishma Deva therefore had no other desires. Unless one is purified from all sorts of material desires, the Lord does not become one's leader. Desires cannot be wiped out. So again, Sattvatas means who? Krishna is the leader of devotees, nobody else. He is controlling other non-devotees also. It is not that he is not controlling others, but they are all under material energy, not spiritual energy, not directly under Krishna. So Prabhupada is saying that we can have this, as long as material desires are concerned, we cannot stop them. We cannot wipe them off. Throughout our life, we have material desires, right? We have material desire. That like Mayavadis or other people say that, cut off, stop it. We cannot stop eating. We cannot stop acting, right? So action will be there. All these things are there. We have to engage our senses. So like in yoga, we stop the actions of the senses, but our bhakti yoga says that we need not stop anything. We just dovetail. Prabhupada is writing dovetail, direct, direct that towards Krishna. Like, okay, you want to eat nicely, eat prasadam. You want to speak about Krishna. You want to hear kirtan. You want to walk, you walk towards temple. So all these senses, you want to see, you see the beautiful form of the Lord. So all the senses are not controlled, senses are engaged. That important point, Krishna, Srila Prabhupada is writing in this purport, that throughout life, you engage your senses in the devotional service, then it will be possible for us to remember Krishna. Otherwise, engaging the senses is difficult, then we will face difficulty with attachments. Then now in the verse 33, he is stating Krishna as Vijaya Sakha. Let me have Rati. Rati means love, feeling, rasa. For Vijaya Sakha, whose transcendental body is desired by the three worlds, and whose complexion is dark like the tamala tree. His glittering yellow clothes shine in the sun, and his lotus face is surrounded by curly locks of hair. Bhishma, all devotees, we all relish the beauty of Krishna. He is the most beautiful, right? He is the most beautiful. One of the attribute of Krishna is he is most beautiful. So now he is describing how nice the Lord's beauty. He is taking pleasure in describing his beauty. In that he is stating one important thing, that he is saying that he is Vijaya Sakha. See, when we glorify the Lord likes that if we glorify along with him, along with his pure devotee. So this secret Bhishma Dev could understand, that Bhishma Dev could understand very well that Arjuna is very dear to Krishna. Though he is also dear to Krishna, but you see that this is the tactic to attract the Lord. When you praise the devotee, when you along with Krishna, then it has multiple effect. For example, for this Prabhupada says that if you want to please a big shot, big rich man, Prabhupada gave this example somewhere else, but I feel that relevant to state here. If you go to a rich person's house, what will you take? A rich person, they have everything. I also feel the same thing when some rich people, rich devotees are there. I feel what to give. Whatever you may give, for you it may be very expensive. For them it is nothing. What will you give? But the best idea is their child may be there, small boy, a small girl. You bring something to them, the small children will be easily easily pacified, satisfied. You get them some small petty things, and they will like it. Some small paper toy or something. They will be happy easily. You can make them satisfied, and by that you can satisfy the rich man. This is the technique. Similarly, Krishna, difficult to please, but Krishna, when he is happy, when his devotees are praised, so he's calling him as Vijaya Sakha. So these are all like some simple techniques to attract Krishna. So he's saying that he's really know that Vijaya, that is Partha, Arjuna is dear to Krishna, so that he is relishing that relationship. Also, he is appreciating he is describing his body, and this is seeing from the battlefield. If he would have been with Krishna, he could not have enjoyed Krishna's beauty. He was opposite party. In the opposite party, this is also bliss. See, if he would have been in the Pandava side, he could not have enjoyed Krishna's beautiful form. But now he is opposite, you could see that. And another thing is, he's enjoying that Parthasarathi, his worshipable deity is Parthasarathi. So that he could see here. So see, all these things combinedly came. He's in the opponent side, but still he got whatever he wanted, right? Before this, one interesting thing happened. Bhishma Dev never wanted to kill Pandavas. He had deep attachment with them. But this Duryodhana was harassing him. Hey, whether you are always supporting Arjuna, you like him, that's why nothing is happening this side. So he was that day he was very heavy on Bhishma Dev. So Bhishma Dev said, okay, today I will kill, tomorrow in the next battle I will kill them all. I'll kill the Pandavas. Okay, he said. Now the Duryodhana happily went, but Krishna know this. So if really Bhishma Dev wanted to do, he could have done. So Krishna wanted to stop it. So what he did, he called Draupadi. He told, you remove your pile, so remove your handclet. So she removed and gave it to Krishna. And now you walk towards Bhishma Dev's room. With fully covered. You put your pallu like this, fully, nobody should understand who are you, what are you. So you go to his room and catch hold of his feet and ask for a boon. So being a woman, you can ask that I want to remain a Sumangali. So you ask, he will give. So she also went, and she was begging, catch hold of Bhishma Dev's feet, and he thought that it must be Duryodhana's wife. But when she got up and he could understand that this is Draupadi, then now he promised that he cannot kill Pandavas. Now she has to be Sumangali. All the 5 Pandavas should be protected. You see how Krishna attacked. He did some trick. So now he understood what Krishna, he know that Krishna definitely wanted to protect Pandavas. No, he understood his position and he fought. Really, he fought. But it is his rasa. That is his relationship. That's why he fought. So now he is describing that Bhishma cannot give up that form of sweetness. So he is again in the 34th verse. He is describing Krishna's form again. On the battlefield, where Sri Krishna attended Arjuna out of friendship, the flowing air of Lord Krishna turned ashen due to the dust raised by the hooves of the horses. And because of his labor, beads of sweat wetted his face. All these decorations, intensified by the wounds dealt by my sharp arrows, were enjoyed by him. Let my mind thus go into Sri Krishna. So now, because the relationship is fighting relationship, whenever Bhishma Dev shot an arrow on Bhishma Dev, Krishna shot an arrow on Bhishma Dev. Sorry, Bhishma Dev shot arrow on arrows on Krishna. Krishna was bleeding. Actually, he was bleeding, but he enjoyed it. How he enjoyed in intimate relationship, husband and wife, they even bite each other. So like that, when a devotee put flowers on the Lord, it is very soft. When we throw flowers on you, it is very soft, it is not affecting us. Similarly, when the child kicks the mother in the stomach, the mother tolerates and she is very happy. Oh, my child is active. But actually, the child is kicking. It is some pain. But the pain becomes pleasure because it is done by the loved ones. So here, Krishna was enjoying the arrows of Bhishmadev because they were in that rasa. And further, it will happen that Krishna, he wanted to see, the Bhishmadev's desire is to see that Krishna should take his weapon. And he was fighting so vigorously and he wanted to kill Arjuna and wanted to see that how Krishna is reacting. So Krishna promised that he will never take any weapon. But because he was forced to protect Arjuna, now nobody can protect Arjuna now except Krishna. So Krishna came out of the chariot, took the wheel, and he was running towards Bhishmadev. This is such a wonderful picture. In ISKCON, some devotee painted this. Krishna is Samoham Sarvabhuteshu. He wants to satisfy, he wants to protect Arjuna. He is a devotee, and he wants to reciprocate with Bhishmadev, who is also a devotee. Externally, it appears that Krishna wants to kill Bhishmadev. No, Krishna wants to prove that for Bhishmadev, he can even break his vow. Krishna made a vow that I will not take any weapon, but now Bhishmadev wants Krishna to fight with him. So Krishna took the weapon. So, but there, what happened in that scene? The day ended. So he couldn't go further, and also Arjuna stopped him. Oh, Krishna, you made a vow. So that scene is wonderful scene where Arjuna also is in so much devotion, Bhishmadev in so much devotion, and Krishna is reciprocating with both. So now Arjuna caught his lotus feet and is saying, Krishna, don't go. You are not supposed to fight. You made an oath, so you should not supposed to fight. So this is such a beautiful picture in ISKCON. Whenever I see that, it is there in Mayapur also, I see how Krishna is so sweet in reciprocating with both the devotees. So this especially Bhishmadev wanted to see that Krishna is breaking his rule and breaking his vow. So now next verse 35. Yeah. May I have Rati for Partha Saka. That is the eternal relationship with the Lord is Partha. He is the worshipper of Parthasarathi. So he is directly saying that, see, when end of our like this life, or if we are perfected our spiritual life, then we will definitely understand what is our relationship with Krishna. Not in the beginning stage. The beginning stage is, some people, they say that I am Krishna's consort. Some say that I am Krishna's friend. Some say that Krishna is my child. These things will not come in beginning at all. This is the maturity of devotion. To become a mother, to become a friend, to become a lover, all these things will manifest when we perfected our devotionals. Till then, we have to follow the Guru Parampara. So by seeing Bhishmadev, we cannot imitate, oh, I'm also in the fighting spirit. Oh, I'm also in Yashoda Mai mood. Oh, I'm also in Radharani's mood. These things we cannot imitate. Now we have to do only sadhana bhakti. We can relish the pastimes. So now Bhishmadev is as perfected his spiritual life. So now he is understanding that Parthasarathi is here. So he is saying Partha Saka. Saka means friend. Partha is Arjuna. Arjuna's friend is always now connecting with devotees and Krishna, who by his merciful glance shortened the lifespans of opposite party when he placed his chariot in the midst of the two armies at Arjuna's command. See, Krishna is always equal to everyone. Now he had this idea also. Whoever saw Krishna in the battlefield, all attained salvation. All attained salvation. So that's why even for the enemies, he bestowed his mercy. This is all merciful Krishna, right? Whoever died in that battlefield, they all attained salvation. In that way, he is equal to Arjuna, also equal to other enemies also. So our Bhishma Dev is glorifying the merciful Lord. Then in 36, may the object of my attraction to be the lotus feet, Charana Rati, of that Lord who eradicated Arjuna's ignorance by delivering transcendental knowledge, Atma Vidya, when he was bewildered and refused to fight. So Arjuna was bewildered and refused to fight. He doesn't want to, or how I can kill my own relatives, my guru, my grandfather, my brothers, my cousins, my all my relatives. I don't want. So Prabhupada writing in the purport that this is the symptom of a pure devotee. Arjuna was a pure devotee and he had compassion for his relatives and friends. So, but now Krishna says that for my sake, even if I wish that what is dharma? What is dharma? Dharmam tu sakshat bhagavat pranitam. When Krishna says, we have to understand that that is dharma. Though you may have compassion, then that compassion, all these illusions were broke by Krishna. He spoke Bhagavad Gita and he clearly made Arjuna to understand what is life and what is Krishna's wish. So he has to fulfill Krishna's wish, rather is dharmic moral values or understandings. So this Bhishma Dev is praising the Lord. So you dispelled the illusions of Arjuna. Then he says, it is said that Krishna elevates his devotee to a higher position than his own. I saw that directly. That in this battlefield, who is the hero? Arjuna. Because Krishna became chariot driver, not the main fighter, right? Main person was Arjuna. So he gave all the credit to Arjuna, not for him. So another thing is, to protect Arjuna, he broke his promise. That he is describing. Bhishma Dev is describing in verse 37, sacrificing his own promise, not to use a weapon and to fulfill my desire to see Krishna fighting for saving his friend. See, both the purposes are solved in this one action. He ran towards me with a chariot wheel while the earth shook and his outer garment fell to the ground. Krishna, when he ran towards Bhishma Dev, his outer garment, yellow garment, fell on the ground. Such a beautiful, scene. Krishna was so attached to his devotees and he wanted to protect Arjuna. So for that, he ran towards Bhishma. So at that time, his outer garment fell into the ground. That much he was so. When the outer garment fell, also he couldn't take. He was such a mood to kill, to protect Arjuna. So he was running. So now uh, he's saying that let my destination, Gati. Rati means love. Now Gati means destination to Lord Mugunta, who rushed towards me as if angry to kill me, his body covered in blood from the wounds of my sharp arrows. Because Bhishma Dev gave sharp arrows towards Krishna, so his body is covered with a little blood and dust of the battlefield. So he is saying that my destination is Lord Mugunta. Then he says, may I have Rati for Parthasarathi. See, this is his ultimate. Each living Jiva entity has a destination or um, worshipable deity for them. Like that will be, as I said, that will be visible only at the end of your spiritual perfection, not now. So now he can see, we can understand Bhishma Dev is in connection with the Parthasarathi. Now he is saying that the Parthasarathi who stood with a whip in his right hand and reins in his left hand. Left hand he is catching hold of the rein of the horses, and the whip is he is having, carefully protecting Arjuna's chariot and awarding original forms, Swarupam, to those who died on the battlefield seeing him. See, he is doing multiple activity. the the soldiers who died in the battlefield, they all attained their Swarupa. See, very, very easy, right? You may wonder, what is this? They didn't do any devotional service. They didn't take initiation. They didn't get up for Mangalarti. They didn't chant their rounds. But they fought, and in that too they were with the Duryodhana party. But this is not fair, you may ask. That's why this mercy, the term mercy, is called, there is no any mercy means, what is mercy? Karuna, or what is it? Daya. Or, if you have some reason and show some mercy, daya, that is not real mercy. Real mercy means no reason at all. So here there is no reason at all. They were there and they are fortunate. By seeing Krishna, they left their body, so Krishna awarded them. So this is called mercy. Mercy means that there is no connection with, like, you are a devotee for so many lifetimes. You have done this and that and this. Then, then mercy comes. No, mercy is there for everyone. Mercy is there for everyone. That's the meaning of mercy. So in one prayer, this reminds me of one prayer of Alvar. He says, an example is given. A dull student wants to join a college. So this dull student go to a big shot for recommendation. He goes. That big shot is asking, how much mark you have got? He says, 60. Why you didn't get 90, 99? If I would have got 90, 99, why I should come to you? Right? That itself will, give me seat. I didn't get that mark. So that's why I am asking for recommendation. So the mercy term comes to those who have no qualification. Okay. So Krishna is merciful to show that he is praising him, that he is equal. Now he's saying, Gopi's love is supreme. In the verse 40, is describing about the Gopi's love. Lord Krishna's movements and smiles of love attracted the Gopis, who imitated his actions, blinded by the madness of love after his disappearance from the Rasa dance. So now he is describing that the topmost love is Gopi's love for Krishna, right? We all know. Then when Krishna disappeared in the Rasa dance, they all imitated what Krishna did to them. So now again he is relating Rajasuya Yagya of Yudhishthira Maharaj. At the Rajasuya Yagya, I witnessed Lord Krishna being worshipped by the great kings and the sages as the most exalted. Now he is describing in the Rajasuya Yagya performed by Yudhishthira Maharaj. There, all the sages except Shishubal, all the other sages and kings, they were all worshipping. They were all understanding that Krishna is supreme. So that he is narrating. Then finally he says, now I can meditate upon Lord Krishna, having transcended the misconceptions of duality in regard to his presence in everyone's heart. The sun may be perceived differently, but he is one. Sun may be, by reflection, see, the blind cannot see the sun. Can the blind see the sun? Sun may be present. So blind, he is not, blind man cannot utilize sun's energy, but others, they utilize sun's energy. Thieves also, they don't like sun. Though they have eyes, but they see sun, but they don't like sun. So different persons perceive sun differently. Similarly, different living entities perceive Krishna, but Krishna is equal. Krishna is equal to all. And for that Lord, I am meditating on that Lord. Then Bhishma's mind, speech, sight, actions absorbed in Krishna. became silent and stopped his breathing. So by praising Krishna, you see, by seeing Krishna's beautiful form, Bhishma Dev leaves the world, leaves the body. Here it is said that he is merging. It's for the outer world, but he entered Vaikunta, where Lord Krishna is Parthasarathi, and he is there with him fighting. Is there with Krishna in a fighting spirit. So joyfully is fighting with Krishna. So there are so many points Prabhupada is describing in purport. This much I am able to cover. Beautiful points is Prabhupada is writing here. You please go through it, go through the purport. Bhagavatam is nectar, nectar, nectar. So you can relish the pastimes. And we should also try to follow great devotees like Bhishma Dev. Whatever may happen in our life, we are not like Bhishma Dev. Bhishma Dev is a warrior, Kshatriya, but we are simple housewives. Our conditions are different. Our conditions are entirely different from his condition. But the lesson we learn from this is that whatever happens in our life, our love towards Krishna should increase every day. Our goal is Krishna. Our goal is, pleasing Krishna. That should be our goal. Other things will happen in our life. So we have to perform our duties and depend on him completely in any situation. And our action should be Anukulyasa Sankalpa, Pratikulyasa Varjanam, Rakshishiti Vishwasho, Goptrutve Varnam Tada. Then finally, Shraddha, Goptrutve Varnam Tada.
Atmanikshepa Karpanya.
Huh?
Atmanikshepa Karpanya.
Atmanikshepa Karpanya, Shatvida Sharanagati. So we have to, that should be our understanding of devotional service. We have to do actions favorable for Krishna consciousness, and we should avoid actions which are not favorable for Krishna, for Krishna consciousness. We should always depend on Krishna. We should not take shelter of anyone else except Krishna. And we should always have the faith that Krishna will definitely protect us. Being a devotee, if we disbelieve, that is an offense. We should patiently wait that Krishna will see. Throughout Bhishma Dev's life, how much calamity he saw. Imagine everywhere he was blamed, right? He controlled his senses. His life is full of sacrifice. But still, nobody could understand him. He was always in the tension, but remained a devotee. That rewarded him. Finally, Krishna came and he took him back. Okay. So that was also another reason that the 8 Vasus, they came, but the 7 went back to heavenly abode, but he went back to spiritual world. That is nice, right? That is wonderful. So we all should try this very lifetime. We should go back home, back to Godhead. Hare Krishna. Any doubts? If you have any doubts and comments, you are welcome.
Mataji, here it is said that the soldiers attend their Swarupa, which is okay, understandable. But what about evil-minded people like Duryodhana? I think he also attends Sayajya Muktis. How do we understand that? Because in fact, he hated Krishna in his actions and
actually,
see this. How do we understand?
Pastimes of Krishna, even the enemies are devotees only. Duryodhana was a devotee of Lord Balaram. Here he has given a villain role. Okay. But if somebody behaves like Duryodhana was a bad example. Krishna wanted to show how a bad person is, how a non-Krishna conscious person is. He's an example, but he is a devotee, and he went back to his eternal abode with. So the team, see, even the enemies in Krishna's pastimes are devotees. They came and then they all went back.